Y'all, did Stephanie really get on this app and say I'm jealous of her? When the circus comes in, the clowns really get rolling, don't they?
How's your head?
I haven't had any complaints yet.
Hi Curslings. We are back with another update about the racketeering Jenkins. And this one's gonna do your head in. But first, some housekeeping. Over the last week or so, there have been a lot of rumors circulating about the reviled jackasses. Including this one, about the Jenkins' 2-year-old son having a bad fall and ending up in the ER last weekend. As far as I can tell, it's fake. It's a troll. And it's clear for a few reasons. One, because they spelled Desiree's name wrong. And two, because Stephanie confirmed in her subscribers-only TikTok chat, which, by the way, you cannot screenshot or screen record, hence why this is a very janky photo that I had to take in my walk-in closet before bed, where Stephanie said that this isn't true, it's fake. Now, normally I wouldn't believe her, but I feel like if it was actually true, they would be leaning into it for the sympathy, and the toddler would have some sort of bandaging or something in their content. Or she might have put an emoji over his head, because she does that too. So, if you're wondering, this account is fake, it's a troll. Do not trust the information coming from it until it can be backed up or verified from other sources. Now, the current theory is that Drew skipped out on his April 7th court appearance for being held in contempt of unpaid child support. However, Stephanie is now claiming that this isn't true. He totally went.
What is it? Because you guys weren't able to find your angle of him at the courthouse? You guys are like, he didn't show up? He was there. The frick? For now it's 2 missed court. And next day it's going to be 3 missed court days when we haven't even had 3 to show up for. He's been there for both court dates. I don't know what y'all talking about.
What I didn't mention in my last video, though, is that Arita actually left a voicemail with her caseworker on Monday, presumably to see how all of this played out.
I even called my caseworker before I even hopped on, just to clarify, because it says I can or I don't have to, but just to clarify that I didn't have to show up. I left her a voicemail, and I probably won't hear back from her until tomorrow, if anything, because she says on her voicemail, she says she promptly tries to get back to phone calls in the order that they were received.
So far, Arita has not said anything about this, about how that conversation went, whether the caseworker called her back, or anything that might contradict her original conclusion that Drew did not go. Even at the time of this recording, which is April 10th, Arita still maintains her position that she thinks that Drew did not go on Monday.
And telling me to wait and hold on. Nothing, which means he didn't even appear by phone if he was even supposed to appear by phone.
So, until the online court records update and we can see what the next steps will actually be, including whether or not a bench warrant was issued, I'm gonna continue to operate under the same assumption as Arita, which is that Drew didn't go, at least until I'm proven otherwise. Because, let's face it, Stephanie's word is worthless. Which brings us to our update, because Tuesday, around 5:20-ish p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Drew conveniently uploaded this video of himself at the hospital, writing in the video caption, "Hey everyone, I'm not behind bars like I'm sure people thought I would be. I guess I had a 2 to 3 minute seizure and I didn't come to until I got to the hospital." You know what? We're rereading this in a vocal fry. We're doing this in Valley Girl. Seems more fitting. I got to the hospital. We don't know the cause. Except that I was a couple hours late taking my heart medication. No regrets. No regrets. We're keeping that. Yep. He posted this the day after he was supposed to appear in court. You literally cannot make this up. In the video, Drew films himself lying in a hospital bed. He has a blood pressure cuff on one of his arms, an IV in the other, and although it is hard to see, he appears to be hooked up to a heart rate monitor. In the next clip, back at the motel, Stephanie, I'm assuming, films the side and back of Drew's head, where he seemingly sustained a minor injury, emphasis on minor, when he had his so-called seizure. Apparently, we need to go on an Easter egg hunt for these goose eggs, though, because I don't see any. Are they in the room with us right now? Because qu'est-ce que fuck? Now, Drew claims that he had a 2 to 3 minute seizure and then blacked out, presumably hitting his head when he collapsed, hence the red mark, which in Stephanie's subscriber-only video the next day, she explained was because he had hit his head on the door frame.
He smacked the frick out of his head on the door frame. It would have been easily a 2-minute seizure at the minimum, because he fell. I was sitting there, babe, are you good? And then I realized, oh, this is a seizure. So I got up, tried to look for my phone. Took me a second to find my phone, at least 15 seconds. And since when does 911 not just answer the phone? I had to go through like prompts and different languages and crap. Bro, this is an emergency. Like, answer thy phone. So that took a minute. And I can verify that because the call is 4 minutes long. I wasn't speaking to an actual person for more than at least 60 seconds. Anyways, he seized nearly the whole time I was speaking to the person, and then I was checking his breathing. He was flushed. I can't think of the word right now. Clammy, like sweaty, but it's more clammy. And he was not himself. He was not himself at all. I asked him if he was okay, and he was just like, baby, I love you. And I'm like, okay, I love you too, but are you good? You know, he couldn't remember our names. He couldn't remember what year it was. And that is normal after a seizure, but it is proof, like, yo, the man had a seizure and he couldn't remember anything.
Drew also claims that he woke up after he arrived at the hospital, meaning that he was unconscious the entire way there. This will become important later. As for Drew's seizure, seizures typically last between 30 seconds and 2 minutes, which for the most part do not require urgent medical intervention. So I found it really interesting when Reddit, God, I love Reddit, found this Google AI search result, which provides an example of a focal seizure, which, quote, can last around 15 seconds to 2 to 3 minutes. Weird. 2 to 3 minutes, eh? So would it surprise any of you to know that Stephanie has epilepsy and apparently knows quite a bit about it?
All we know for sure is that he had a seizure yesterday. That's what happened. I will post a video too, but obviously a subscriber, so he went to the bathroom and I was like, okay, this seems like a long time. I went to go check on him and he's already laying down. So I woke him up and I said, you know, are you okay? Are you okay? And he went to stand up and start talking to me, and he just started like stiffening up, fell over and started seizing. And I grew up with epilepsy. I had it until I was about 10. And I've seen and had a ton of seizures, so I knew what the heck I was dealing with, but I've never had someone who doesn't have a seizure condition have a seizure on me.
And on this, by the way, she's not lying because her mother confirmed it to be true in this video.
Oh, let me just answer that one little quick question that's going around real quick. Yes, Stephanie did have childhood epilepsy. So did her sister. They're 2 years apart, same birthday. And they both roughly started at the age of 4. So Stephanie 2 years after her sister. Yeah, they both.
So, the fact that Drew seemingly seized just a little bit longer than the standard range, specifically for 2 to 3 minutes, or just long enough to warrant a trip to the ER, is very, very interesting to me. Especially when you factor in the part where Drew would also be quite aware of how seizures work because apparently his mom also has epilepsy.
And
Yep, which brings me to Arlita's response to Drew's hospital bed video.
Woo! I seen it. Now, his mother is epileptic. He has epilepsy. His mother takes medication. She's been on medication for years. Me and Andrew are the same age. He ain't never had a seizure in his life, y'all. Oh my God, when I tell you I am tackling. Does he think that's going to get him out of the situation that he's still in?
Much like us, Arita also found the timing of this to be super convenient. It's almost like it sounds made up. Then, around 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Stephanie posted this 10-minute long video / rant about Drew's hospitalization, which she says had occurred that morning. So, seemingly the day after Drew was to appear in court for being in contempt of unpaid child support.
What a fucking morning. So, as you probably already know, well, some people may know, because Drew posted about it, Drew went to the hospital this morning.
Now, there's a lot to unpack from Stephanie's video, which we'll get to it soon. But what is especially noteworthy about this video is that Stephanie's version of events kinda sorta contradicts Drew's. Yeah. See, in Stephanie's brief retelling, because she doesn't actually spend a lot of time talking about what happened, she claims that Drew spoke with paramedics, which is weird because I thought he blacked out.
And this morning, when my man was interacting with the paramedics,
Worse, according to Stephanie, the paramedics weren't buying their story. Gee, I wonder why. Apparently, they thought Drew was using illicit substances and or faking it.
I just often ask myself, like, would you be asking these questions if it was another... Would you be asking these questions in a different scenario? Because why are you instantly assuming that this has to do with some kind of substance abuse? Why are you instantly assuming that he's faking it? And why are you calling him old when he's 35? Not an old man yet.
Keep in mind, Curslings, that the raging jerk-offs live in Portland, a city that is known to have a major issue with drugs.
The governor of Oregon has declared an emergency for the city of Portland just a few years after it became the first state in the nation to largely decriminalize drug use. Very interesting story here. There had been hope that a more humane approach could help curb addiction overall, but it hasn't worked out that way, at least so far. Adam Yamaguchi of CBS Reports shows us that many people are running out of patience.
The state, the county, and city declare a fentanyl state of emergency.
The state of Oregon appears to be taking a new approach in addressing the opioid crisis plaguing its largest city. The 90-day emergency order for fentanyl use, issued by the governor, establishes a command center and more coordination between emergency management and health services. However, it does not include additional funding. The goal is to give the city's residents a chance against the extremely addictive opioid.
In a state that has decriminalized those drugs.
Oregon paved the way as the first state to decriminalize drug use, passing Measure 110 in 2020. Instead of incarcerating addicts, it focuses on addiction recovery.
You're going to call one of these numbers?
We were with Portland police last year as they handed out citations to fentanyl users in the street.
My full-time job is fentanyl, and basically all roads lead to fentanyl in downtown Portland.
But in the years since Measure 110 was passed, overdose deaths have continued to rise, prompting local leaders to call for more than just the emergency order, but the recriminalization of drug use.
They are living in a roach motel that doubles as a homeless shelter in a bad part of town known for drug use, sex work, and crime. Never mind, the part where Drew is also a recovered / possibly relapsed. Drug addict. Of course they're going to ask if they're using illicit substances. They need to know in case he overdosed. It's also very possible, if not likely, that the reason Drew has a heart problem is because of his past drug use. Information that would also be pertinent to getting him the correct level of help. So I'm not sure why it's so freaking offensive to Stephanie that the paramedics asked if they were using anything. But according to Stephanie, nah, that doesn't make sense. It's obviously racism.
This morning was bullshit. Okay? Because the medical system is failing my man. I'm seeing firsthand how African Americans get treated in the medical system. And if you want to deny that, that's probably because it doesn't affect you. Okay? Or it doesn't affect someone close enough to you that you know what I'm talking about. It just seems like we know.
I also find it really telling that the paramedics supposedly didn't believe Drew. I mean, I don't, but that's because Drew and Stephanie's stories aren't lining up. So I asked a paramedic in the United States to better understand what would lead a first responder to doubt someone. And this was his response. They wouldn't, at least not to the patient's face, because that would be unprofessional, and most first responders wouldn't do that. According to him, paramedics in the United States typically do not have the equipment that is needed to determine whether someone has had a seizure or not. So they have to err on the side of caution. That said, he also noted that seizures are one of the most commonly faked illnesses. But again, without the right equipment and testing, it's not something that paramedics would be able to determine on site. So even if what Stephanie is saying is true, that they didn't believe that Stephanie and Drew were telling the truth, clearly the paramedics still took Drew to the hospital. He still received care. Not only that, they probably gave him a full score of tests. They probably took his blood. They may have even given him an EEG, which is a brain scan, and maybe an EKG too, since he has a supposed history of heart problems. And then, depending on what those results were, a CT scan or an MRI or whatever. Meaning that if it was serious, the hospital would have kept Drew a whole hell of a lot longer than half a day to do those tests. Because Drew wasn't there very long. He wasn't. He left the motel in the morning. The clock in his hospital bed video says 1:05 p.m.-ish, and then he's back at the motel by dinner time because he posted his TikTok around 5 p.m. Pacific Standard. In other words, if something serious had actually happened, they likely would have found it. And they certainly would have kept him at least overnight. So, as much as Stephanie wants to blame this on racially motivated medical discrimination,
the medical system is failing my man. I'm seeing firsthand how African Americans get treated in the medical system. And if you want to deny that, that's probably because it doesn't affect you.
Which is a very real thing that does happen. I'm not convinced that that's actually what happened here. I think that they exaggerated the truth if they didn't outright lie. And I'm not the only one who feels this way. Drew's ex, Arita, also didn't believe it.
Oh yeah, she's spiraling.
This morning, when my man was interacting with the paramedics,
because they ain't stupid either.
I often ask myself, like, would you be asking these questions if it was would you be asking these questions in a different scenario? Because why are you instantly assuming that this has to do with some kind of substance abuse? Why are you instantly...
Because he has substance abuse.
So the very first thing she says that they assumed is that he had substance abuse issues.
He has it.
Nor did this creator, King Petty LaBelle, who also covers the ridiculously lying Jenkins.
You see, now, my motherfucking question is, if Drew is afflicted with all of this shit, you say he had a heart attack, you said he had a stroke. If he was afflicted with all of this shit, then my question is, where is his scooter?
Where is your scooter? Where is it?
But on a serious note, that shit pissed me off when I saw it last night, because how dare you use a very real situation about medical discrimination and apply it to this situation? In 2019 alone, 32% of African Americans has reported discrimination in a clinical setting when it comes to getting their care. It is a very real and serious issue. Even I have went through it at one point in time. Drew Jenkins ain't one of them African Americans. Drew's problem is that he's a chronic child support dodger. And he's pussy whipped. So pussy whipped that he allowed his black son to get displaced into the living room when you had that one bedroom apartment when she moved her ass and her children into that apartment. Again, medical discrimination for African Americans is a real thing, but that ain't your motherfucking place to speak on. How are you going to act like you care about black people? Because the truth of the matter is you don't give a fuck about black people. You only care about black dick and the black dick that keeps impregnating you. Because had you cared about black children, you would have never had Deshaun looking like how he looked. You would have never had his ass in them raggedy ass shoes while your children are getting brand new shit off of the Amazon wish list. If you cared about black people, you would have never allowed his hair to look like that. You, as his stepmom, since you love to proclaim that shit, you would have had gone to the fucking Googles, the YouTubes, the TikToks, and learned how to do that baby's hair. But instead of taking the time to do his hair and learning about 4C hair, you sheared his hair off like he's a goddamn sheep. You don't like black people. You like black dick.
So to me, the fact that Drew is suggesting that his quote-unquote seizure was caused by his heart medication in absence of another explanation indicates that it's because they found nothing. Hence why he was home by dinner. Also, the part where heart medications do not directly cause seizures. See, like Stephanie, I also did some Googling. Because if you were to Google this, you might get this AI search result, which makes it seem like beta blockers, which are a type of blood pressure medication, can trigger seizures. That sounds convincing, right? However, if you actually bother to read the associated link, it'll take you to a press release from the American Epilepsy Society where you will find a study of patients over the age of 60 who have had a stroke and take heart medication. Basically, this study found that 20 out of 168 patients developed post-stroke epilepsy while using a beta blocker medication. So, unless Drew had a stroke recently, which would be rare for someone his age, BT dubs, it's unlikely that his heart medication, assuming he's taking beta blockers, caused a seizure. Even Stephanie, MD, for mothering Drew, would try to change the heart medication explanation in her April 9th subscriber-only livestream, claiming that they never said that Drew's heart medication was the cause of his seizure.
He never specifically, nobody, see that's the thing, y'all want to spin everything and be like, it makes me laugh. We're always like, whoo, I figured it out, this is the newest thing I'm gonna go rage on. That's how you guys are sitting here acting, because you're like, you said a cardiac medication was missed and that caused a seizure. Oh my god, and I'm correct. That's not what was said. What was said was there was a medication missed. And further in the morning, he ended up having a seizure. Never said that those two were correlated.
Now listen, I understand that reading levels and comprehension vary from place to place, state to state, district to district. But if we look at Drew's TikTok, it very clearly says, we don't know the cause, except I was a couple hours late taking my heart medication, aka the current theory is that Drew's heart meds, in absence of another medical explanation, are to be blamed. Oh, and before Stephanie tries to actually me, Drew is using the word except here as a preposition. A preposition is a word that shows the relationship between other words in a sentence. In this case, Drew is using the word except to mean other than in reference to his heart medication. So we could actually read this sentence as, we don't know the cause other than I was a couple hours late taking my heart medication. Or simpler yet, the heart meds are the only explanation we have and it's a weak one, which is probably why Stephanie is now trying to change it because they got called out on it.
That I dealt with epilepsy growing up, and my sister had seizures as well. I've seen a lot of seizures. I also worked in nursing homes in the caregiving field for 7.5 years. So I've seen plenty of seizures. Also, for the ignorant ones who want to claim that seizures can only happen for said particular reasons, here's a list of other reasons why seizures can happen.
What's more likely to have happened, assuming that, they're not lying, is that an underlying condition like diabetes, low potassium, a fever, sleep deprivation, drug withdrawal, etc., triggered what is called an organic, non-epileptic seizure. As John Hopkins describes seizures as anything that interrupts the normal connections between nerve cells in the brain, causing a seizure. This includes fever, high or low blood sugar, alcohol or drug withdrawal, or a brain concussion. So, perhaps blood sugar is to be blamed here then, as abnormal glucose levels can sometimes cause seizures. And Stephanie did recently confirm in this subscriber-only video that Drew is pre-diabetic and that he needs to follow up with a bunch of undisclosed specialists or whatever.
He needs to go to a couple different specialists, and all we know so far is that he's pre-diabetic and he has a heart condition that he needs more testing for.
In fact, it almost seems like this is what Dr. Stephanie would like people to believe now over the whole heart medication thing.
Also, for the ignorant ones who want to claim that seizures can only happen for said particular reasons, here's a list of other reasons why seizures can happen.
There's just one problem with this theory, if that's what they're trying to set up. It doesn't make sense for Drew. According to Stephanie in that same April 3rd TikTok, Drew's blood tests from a few weeks ago were quote-unquote inconclusive.
I'm going to say is, so far what we've gotten back is a lot of the results were inconclusive.
AKA, Drew's blood sugar isn't spiking up and down in a radical fashion that would trigger a seizure. Because if it was doing that, he wouldn't be pre-diabetic. He would probably be actually diabetic, and he would also probably require some form of intervention to, regulate it. Because he sure as hell isn't regulating it through diet or exercise when Stephanie's cooking like this. Whatever the case, Stephanie was clearly not happy with the doctor's conclusions about Drew's quote-unquote seizure.
That's just it. I haven't shared it because I just know how people are. Y'all gonna be like, oh, well, she can say, well, this test came back normal and this came back normal, and, well, obviously there's nothing wrong with him and he's just playing games. Nah, man, do you know how many times an African American has their medical concerns dismissed simply because that's just how the doctors want to play? And ever since we went viral, the hell that we have gone through with the doctor's office, and it's not professional at all, and we have kept our mouth quiet. But I'm low-key tired of it, okay? I'm low-key freaking tired of keeping my mouth shut.
Because she spent a decent amount of time in her 10-minute video blaming doctors and institutionalized racism instead. And obviously, we should believe Stephanie because she has never, ever, ever lied to us before. And we should believe her because she knows her man.
And then just to sit there and act like I don't know my own man that I've been with for 3 years. And I'm telling you, he's not acting himself. He's not acting himself. I don't get it.
She has a degree in 9 to PS5 Drew.
I think it's freaking hilarious how doctors and people in the medical field will be like, I got this degree. I know you better than you know yourself. You just met me. You don't. Your degree did not... You didn't have a degree on me, bitch. You feel what I'm saying? Like, you need to listen.
After all, post-secondary education is a scam.
There's a fan going in the background, but I'm not gonna turn my background off for you. What you mean to say there is that I should go to school, that I should go the traditional American route to get said education. That's what you mean to say. Because I'm very well educated, actually. I just didn't go that traditional American route because I don't take to that. I don't like to be a what's another word for slave? Yeah, I'm not like that. Maybe you are. Maybe you're that America. Not me, honey.
As for the rest of Stephanie's 10-minute video, it is worth noting that she does not actually start at the paramedics part, which you would think would be the logical place to start a story about your partner ending up in the hospital, right? No, that's a ridiculous expectation. Instead, Stephanie begins by insisting that she doesn't post for attention and that she's not trying to use their situation for sympathy or something.
I've never been the type of person that just likes to seek attention or wants people to pity me. That's why I find it goofy when people think that, like, I'm playing this lifestyle of broke because I want attention. Like, that's the fucking last thing on my mind. That'd be silly. I think if there's people who do legit play like they're poor as we are for attention, there's something deep inside wrong with you. Deeply wrong.
Which we, of course, all know is a bold-faced lie per the following montage.
Take me deeper than my feet could ever.
What a year this has been, and I just want to say I'm grateful.
Completely and utterly fine. I'm fine. I am fine. Because yesterday my kid came up to me and said, Mom, how come adults don't celebrate their birthdays? And I told her it's not so much that we don't celebrate our birthdays, it's the fact that these last few years your dad and I have spent any extra means we have on your guys' birthdays. All of our birthdays are back to back, and we like to save the funds that we have available for your guys' birthdays, which means that for mommy and daddy there's not much left over. And my kids literally started tearing up. I am too, but that's just for now, because I truly believe if we set goals and just keep pushing, it'll happen.
What's a soulmate?
It's well, it's like a best friend, but more.
Me again.
When you're spending When the song come on, let me see you get gone. Baby mama, this your song.
Stephanie also insisted that she's tired of holding her tongue and staying quiet, as though she hasn't been spouting off periodically for months.
I've been so quiet about so fucking much because I'm just not the type. I don't want extra drama. I've been through so much in my life, and I've just had so many, like, depressive moments that it's like I'm just tired. I'm just done. I want to be happy. I want to be stress-free. So drama and me, they don't mix, okay?
In fact, she says that all of the posts and videos that she's made so far aren't anything compared to the full-blown, rage-filled crash out that she has deep, deep in her heart, just waiting to be let out.
I got a lot to say, and I've just been quiet. But I think I had a tipping point today where I've just decided I didn't care if it was a 10-minute long video. I'm gonna ramble and speak my freaking mind because I haven't done so. I've been so quiet. And you think my little videos and posts back are anything? No, I have not spoke my mind, and I damn well want to, but I don't think it's important. Sometimes, not that I don't think it's important. I don't think it's gonna do any good because, take for example, Miss Rachel had a baby today. At least it's announced today, right? There's Reddit account who want to sit there and spew their ugly ass crap on Miss Rachel having a baby. So I don't give a flying fuck what you all have to say.
That, and she also said that commentary channels are evil and that pretty much everyone on the internet is evil and has evil in their hearts. Which, if you're asking me, sounds like projection.
Get that people got to make their own bills. They want to pay their own bills and they got to be there Reddit update selves. That's okay, you make your living off being nasty, that's you. I don't care. I know that you guys have evil deep down that you just don't know what to do with except sit behind a keyboard and spew it out on people who are doing nothing to you. It's goofy. It's freaking goofy.
And then she gunned for Arita and Desiree, because of course. Repeating what she said back in March, which is that they had nothing to say until she went viral and became such a successful girl boss.
Like I said, I got shit to say. You think I didn't want to fly off the mouth the first few times that I seen that his exes posted? Because what is that? Y'all had nothing to do with my life prior to me going viral. You had nothing to do with mine and Drew's relationship. You had nothing to do with us.
Oh, and apparently, Arita is only trying to get her quote-unquote peace now that Drew is successful because of Stephanie.
And you see, his significant other is starting to do good, and you can't handle that. You have to come in and try to get your peace. You have to come in and try to stomp whatever success Drew might end up having because of his significant other. I've said nothing.
As though Arita hasn't been spending the last 12 years pursuing him and holding him accountable. Yeah, clearly Arita is jealous of her. Finally, to really rub salt into the wound, I'm assuming she uses Himalayan pink salt, Stephanie made it a point to bring up Drew's son, DS, because Stephanie's the mama, not Desiree. She's the mama.
And don't get me fucking started when it comes to Deshaun. That shit is getting me. I've done nothing but be there for that kid. He calls me mama. Who's he look for in the morning? Me.
Also, echoing statements that she had made back in March when she threw a hissy fit after everyone found out about the whole black eye thing. I also find it really funny, in a not haha kind of way, but in a despicable what the heck kind of way, that Stephanie keeps blaming Desiree for not being there for her child, while she and Drew are actively preventing Desiree from being able to be there to see her son. But F her for not being there, I guess.
Who does he rely on for food, clothing? Me. And I make sure he has it every time before myself. Unlike you. Try to remember that.
Also, meeting the basic needs of a child, of her children, does not make Stephanie a good mother.
Who does he rely on for food, clothing? Me.
Just because you give your kids food and you give them clothes, and that is questionable when it comes to DS, that's not the flex you think it is. That is the bar being on the floor and you hopping over it and then expecting everyone to give you a fucking gold star. Just because you think that you're doing enough doesn't change the fact that abused children often seek comfort and approval from their abusers. Just saying. Which you would think Stephanie, growing up in an abusive environment, would be aware of, right? Now, not long after Stephanie posted this video, Arita posted a response, and she got petty. And you know what? Good for her.
I'm jealous.
Stephanie has been coming onto the internet for years, shitting on her mother, complaining about her siblings, shitting on Desiree, and now shitting on Arita, all while defending a man that she's known for a grand total of 3 years as if he is Jesus walking on water.
I've been with my man for 3 years and I really know him. Ma'am, I've known him since I was a fucking kid. I know his family. There's nothing wrong with him. You know what's wrong with him? He's lazy. He don't want to work. He's trying to hide from child support. And bitch, if you ever thought I was jealous of you, let me show you something.
Also, it's just very delusional on Stephanie's part to think that anyone is jealous of her and her one-bedroom situations, be that an apartment or a motel room.
Delusion. Convince yourself.
Let alone that Arita is jealous. You know, the woman who has been married for the last 10 years and has a giant diamond on her finger, and who very clearly has her life far more together than Stephanie and Drew could ever hope. Yeah, she's jealous.
I mean, y'all excuse my house. But what am I jealous of, Stephanie? Please let me know. Because like I said, I know he never told you about me. I'm fucking crazy. I'm jealous, boo. I'm jealous. I'm jealous. Make sure that man pay up what he's supposed to do. Make sure that man turn himself into that courthouse since you so big and bad. And saying I'm jealous.
According to Arita, there's nothing wrong with Drew. At least when it comes to epilepsy and seizures. He has no known history of it. And she should know, because unlike Stephanie, Arita has known Drew since they were kids.
But come again. Who's jealous of who? I've known him for 3 years. I've known him my whole life.
In fact, Arlita's still in contact with Drew's family, including his mom and his sister. Turns out they don't like him either.
I know his family. Me and his mom talk. Have you talked to her? Oh, wait, no, they don't want nothing to do with you. And I'm jealous. You know, his daddy would have slapped you in him. You wouldn't even exist, boo, if his daddy was around. God rest his soul. Because I know his daddy would flip. That let his little sister run into you too. She might throw them hands. She's a Leo. She might not even waste time because she don't even like her own brother. And how is it that I'm still in contact with family and they don't want nothing to do with him? Riddle me that.
I mean, even Stephanie admitted that it was strange to see someone who has no history of seizures or epilepsy spontaneously have a seizure.
And I grew up with epilepsy. I had it until I was about 10. And I've seen and had a ton of seizures, so I knew what the heck I was dealing with, but I've never had someone who doesn't have a seizure condition have a seizure on me.
So when even Stephanie seems bewildered and in disbelief, as though she doesn't even believe the things that she's saying in her own content, and everyone else observing this mess also don't believe it, it's a bad sign, right? Arlita thinks so, because she ended her video with a message for Drew.
Andrew, you gotta do better, bro. You gonna be messing around with these buckethead breezies. You better let them know. I'ma always hold you accountable. I've been holding you accountable for 12 years. Your daddy was on my side. Your mama's still on my side. Uncle Jeff is still on my side. Your sister will always ride for me, bruh. And you say I'm jealous? Yeah, Stephanie, you might want to sit this one out, boo. You don't want this mess over here. I'll read you for filth, but I won't do that so I won't disrespect your mama. You better find someone else to play with and call somebody else jealous, because bitch, I'll never be jealous of you.
When your aunts and uncles are getting invoked by your ex for a responsibility that you have spent the better part of a decade plus running from, it might be time to put down the PlayStation controller, take off the gaming headset, and take the L. Or at the very least, get a frickin' job like the rest of us. Not that he will. We all know they're not going to get jobs because Stephanie said as much. She literally admitted that they are actively choosing not to work.
We're very to ourselves, and the reason we were going to try to start sharing about his health journey was more just because it was on me. He wasn't even fully comfortable with it. It was me trying to slap people in the face with the reality that he's not just some man that sits on his ass and does nothing for his family. We've taken the steps, we've taken self-employment and pursuing different routes for not just his health, but my health included. And you know, I don't give a rat's hairy ball ass about your freaking statements of, well, I got this, that, and the third disease, and my husband has this, that, and that, and he'll still go to work and all that. Guess what? That's your decision.
Apparently, having a job is bad for your health.
I've seen way too many people way too freaking young. And when I noticed that, hey, if I keep pushing my body this, that, and the third way, I'm going to cut 10 years off my life, and the same for my man, we're not going to do that. We're going to take the steps to worry about our health and be here for our kids as long as we possibly can. And I don't care if that bothers you. I just don't.
But not eating deep fried food every day and sitting around in a motel room with 3 screens all running at once, smoking a ton of weed, at least, and playing video games.
Right.
Then, to add insult to injury, Arita went live with TikTok creator slaywithaliciamae.
I'll tell you right now, his dad would slap the dog piss out of him. My stomach hurts.
Who takes a video like this from a hospital?
His dad would slap the dog piss out of him. He would be like, y'all, I'm so glad that man is not here to see this, because
That's his dating profile picture. No, because yes, the marks on the back of his head or whatever, y'all, I can't.
He got slapped behind his head. I'm convinced he done told her to throw him into a wall or something.
And she wasn't alone. Drew's mother and sister were also there for a bit. Unfortunately, I missed this live stream because I live 3 hours in the future and I was already asleep. But yeah, Drew's mom and sister were on panel with Arita.
Alicia didn't start it. My girl with the violins didn't start it. It got started on its own. And it just continues. And we're just finishing it up. We're entertaining the show.
We are just I would say I'm just reporting on what's happening. That's it.
And they made it very clear that not only do they not have any sympathy for Drew and his supposed seizures.
Thank you, everybody, for the violins. I love the violins. You know, I've got all kinds of forms of violins. I've been playing violins the last couple of weeks, dealing with my own family drama.
I'm sorry.
And let's throw them two into it too. You know, hey.
Even his mama came up on a live and said he ain't never had no seizure in his life. And like I said, his mom has seizures. Okay, she's on medication.
They are still very much close with Arita and her kids, just like Arita has been saying this entire time.
Yeah. Just to let everyone know in the chat, because I've been getting added a lot, yes, we do get to see Arlita's kids all the time. All the time. Mm-hmm. And no, we do not have any contact with them. He has not tried to reach out to us ever.
And that's okay.
I'm telling y'all, they don't want nothing to do with him. It's a toxic situation.
I might pull out the Oregon Symphony.
Oh, Lord, Mom.
I love you.
I love you, too.
In fact, it's Arlita's opinion that Drew is, quote, P-U-S-S-Y, whipped.
Then he got with you. And you could tell those girls and those dudes that put P and D over anything, them type of people, because that's why their kids are living the way they're living. Let's be real, them kids don't come first,
because he tends to act strange, pun intended, with whatever woman he's dating at the time.
Y'all can say whatever you want about Desiree, but at the end of the day, what you guys don't understand is that Desiree was seeing her son until Stephanie came into the picture. And then all of a sudden, she was not allowed to see him anymore.
Because Andrew is just like a female. He puts P-U-S-S-Y over.
Yes. And the supporters are who bought him all that shit. The shoes, the clothes, everything he has right now, the supporters bought.
A sentiment that his other exes, Desiree and Mia, aka Courtney, have also echoed.
Because I thought eventually people would just be like, oh, Ali, that was the person who was misinformed, or this person is spewing off the mountain. I thought it would all start speaking for itself, but all it's done is just turn into more webs of lies. And I've learned
lies, me girl, web of lies.
On the web, and there is good. It just seemed like I'm amazed at some of the shit I see. I really am.
Now, Stephanie also had a scheduled live stream for her TikTok subscribers on Wednesday. Apparently, I missed a memo and also that live stream, so womp womp. But in the clips that were saved and that I managed to find, Stephanie confirmed that they still have not found any housing.
There is a couple. The issue we've had with the housing is the stinking eviction. It's like we we just keep getting denied for that.
Although Stephanie would admit that even that shouldn't be a barrier for them everywhere in the city. There have to be rentals out there that they can rent.
Which, I mean, I get that that's usually something that's kind of hard to work around, but you'd think that there'd be some properties that will work with it. I'm sure that there is, we just haven't found them yet.
Conveniently, the bankruptcy was not mentioned either. Stephanie also, in this live stream, came for another creator, although I'm not really sure who she's talking about. I'm assuming probably Morgan, but it could also be Arita or someone else.
I feel like it's even more embarrassing that if your content is a latest update on the Jenkins for the past 6 months, that's all you can produce for your content. A little bit sad.
But apparently, you're a bad mom if you take care of your appearance.
And go on calling me a terrible mom while you sit there in your newest lashes and newest nails and all that.
Which I found especially interesting, given that Stephanie has literally said in the past that she cannot afford to look nice, and that's not her fault, but that if she could afford to, she totally would.
I can seriously handle a lot of hate, bro, but when people come at me for my appearance when I literally can't afford to look any better, that hurts, because I really cannot even afford to go buy anything else. And they just don't get it. I get that, but those are the comments that just take me the fuck out, bro.
Then again, Stephanie also said that there's no excuse for a parent to neglect their physical health when they have kids, so hypocrite is thy name, Stephanie.
I know I'm goofy looking, bro. You have no idea how fucking phenomenal looking I can be if I just could afford the shit.
Anyway, she also elaborated more on Drew's supposed seizure.
So I mentioned in my subscriber only live today that I was going to make a video for the subscribers, kind of just giving a little more detail about what happened yesterday morning. So Drew had mentioned he had a headache. We were looking for Tylenol, and he just said it was a very sudden headache. He went to the bathroom because he said, I'm going to go to the bathroom. I was sitting nursing the baby. And I'm like, okay, he's been in there for a minute. Seems like he's been in there for a while. So once I got finished nursing the baby, I set her down and went to the bathroom.
Apparently, she found him in the bathroom laying down on the floor, even though there isn't enough room in their bathroom to do that, but okay, whatever.
He had actually turned the light off in the bathroom and was just kind of laying on his on the side of the tub. So I turned the light back on and I was like, babe, are you good? And at first he didn't respond to me. It was like he was fully asleep. And I was like, babe, are you good? And he kind of startled back awake. He was about to stand up and try to talk to me. He didn't get to a full standing position before he just locked up, and like his limbs locked up, and he just fell over and started seizing. I was standing right in the door when he I just it stiffened up is the best way to explain it. I can't really show you with the baby in my hands, but his arms kind of straightened out, and he fell to his side and fell down. I tried to slow his fall the best I could by supporting him. He's kind of a big dude, so he's still hit the ground.
She also insisted that she's not lying.
It's funny because the person who's lying is usually the one who's squirming to find a way to explain themselves. No, I'm telling the truth. I got nothing to hide.
And that she doesn't care. She just doesn't care if no one believes them.
No, that's okay. Nobody believes anything that... Nobody believes a lot of crap, and I don't really give a crap. They want to go believe in a bunch of hater accounts and Reddit fan clubs. That's on you to believe a bunch of crazy heads.
Right.
Which is exactly the kind of thing you would say when you're trying to convince someone that you're not lying.
I think it's goofy as heck to be like, I'm gonna go believe someone who's not even a part of their family spewing off at the mouth, but I'm not gonna believe them. Okay.
And that's okay. I might pull out the Oregon Symphony.
No, apparently, somewhere in that Wednesday live stream, Stephanie tried to claim that Drew didn't have to appear at court in person. However, because I missed that live stream, I can't verify that for you. But in the off chance that she did say something like that, Arita came out today with receipts. Just in case anyone was not clear about what was expected of Drew on Monday.
Whew. Y'all are becoming exhausting. And the fact that you guys really believe Stephanie is wild. She literally got on her sub live because I was told that she said that he wasn't ordered to appear and that he can be on the phone call. Right? What does that say on the motion? It says to Andrew Alexander Jenkins. On the motion of Multnomah County District Attorney, you are ordered to appear. Wait, let's go to the next page. Y'all can pause to read. Let's hope your guys' comprehension skills come into play. You can do with this as you will. Let's go to the next page. This is what is on the next page. Okay? You can pause to read that too, just in case. All right, let's go to the next one. Now, you can pause to read this too. I'll give you guys some time. Go ahead and pause to read. Okay, are we ready for the next page? Are we ready for the next page? Here's the next page.
Arita even screen recorded a bit of the call recording while she was waiting to join on April 7th. She says that it never connected, presumably because Drew wasn't there at 10 a.m. like he was supposed to be, although it's also possible it's because his case hadn't been heard yet. We don't know.
I literally screen recorded because I knew there was going to be some people that didn't believe. But do you see how it says it's transcribing? Which means for an hour, nothing came up on the audio call. Nothing but music and telling me to wait and hold on.
Currently, though, Arita is still operating under the impression that Drew did not attend his hearing. He didn't go. She still thinks this.
Nothing, which means he didn't even appear by phone if he was even supposed to appear by phone. Are you guys this gullible in real life? I am flabbergasted that half of y'all are this gullible in real life and believe Stephanie.
And like I said earlier, until more receipts are provided, I'm choosing to trust Arita because so far, she's been pretty straightforward. She has come with evidence since October. I have no reason to disbelieve her. And much like the rest of us, Arita also is questioning Drew and Stephanie's sobriety because they've been looking kinda out of their minds.
And I got another thing for y'all. Hold on real quick. Hold on. Before this ends. Hold on. You can't tell me they don't look zooted. And if you know, you know. You cannot tell me if they don't look zooted. And this was sent to me. But he had a seizure. And he had a heart attack. And he has high blood pressure. And he has pre-diabetes. But y'all look zooted. Beam me up, Scotty. That's what y'all look like. You're flying high. But I'm still made to look like I'm the problem.
Now, this isn't anything new for Stephanie and Drew because this has been quite noticeable throughout Stephanie's content for years. But especially lately, it's been very noticeable, including in her live streams, like this one from April 3rd.
I gotta find a little bit better angle for my lives here. I'm wondering why yours says that when we got it at the same time as we got his, because yours takes forever to charge and then it dies really quick. Watch. I mean, as she used that word. Anyways, it goes real quick, but his charges fast and then it lasts forever. I know. It doesn't make no sense. I think Abby must have put some kind of game on her that was super glitchy at some point.
And I'm at a point, Curslings, where I have to agree. Because what else would explain what we're witnessing in real time? I mean, hell, even supposedly the paramedics are questioning whether or not they're sober. What other reason could there be for why Stephanie and Drew are okay with living the way they are? Because this is not how Drew was raised. According to Arita, this is not his upbringing.
Them kids don't come first. Because if they did, you wouldn't be too comfortable in that situation. Because I know I wouldn't be comfortable in that situation. I like to have my own space. Okay? I want my kids to have their own space. Okay? The sad thing about it is he grew up in a 2-parent household. And it's unfortunate that he turned out way different than his parents. Is his parents perfect? Absolutely not. His parents weren't perfect. None of our parents are perfect. But he had a really good upbringing. Okay?
She says that he grew up in a good family with 2 parents in a good home, and it's baffling to her how he can be okay with this. How he can be okay with allowing his family to live in a roach motel while inflicting trauma onto his children through deliberate inaction.
His mom and dad made sure they were taken care of. Okay? So for him to do what he's doing, and a lot of people taking up for him and talking about, oh, why are you going after him now? I'm going to say it again and I'm going to say it one more time. This has already been in place. So when you continue to lie and you continue to run and you continue to think that life is not going to catch up with you, this is what happens. That's why he looks like an old man and he's aging 10 times older. And that's why she looked like an old woman. No disrespect to her mama, because I'm trying to be nice. But that's why they're aging the way they are aging. And that's why they're looking the way they're looking.
As for Drew's health concerns, Arlita's still not buying it. She also spoke about her own health issues, including a major back surgery that she had when she was 14, and the chronic pain that she still lives with and deals with on a regular basis. None of which, she says, has stopped her from working and doing what she needs to take care of her children.
I look rough because I ain't had time to do my hair or my nails. So right now I'm rough. But guess what? I get up every day. I work. Okay? I have a chronic foot injury right now that's been bothering me. I'm still up walking and working. I had back surgery when I was 14. Okay? A major back surgery when I was 14. And I'm still working. I get back spasms, all kinds of stuff. I'm still working. There's no excuse. So there was no excuse for him not to show up in court.
A sentiment that I know many of you can relate to, because many of you are doing the same thing. So let's call this for what it is. It's a scam. This is part of a plan by Stephanie and Drew to convince the courts, themselves, family, whatever, that Drew is too disabled to work, to legitimize or to give permission to their decision making, which is that they don't want to work, they don't want to have a job, they don't want to do a W-2. I mean, heaven forbid they work, right? But I don't think Stephanie anticipated was that the internet was going to see through her. That a lot of people aren't stupid.
This man's been driving with no license. All of a sudden, before court, we got a seizure. He had a heart attack before. So which one is it? Is he pre-diabetic, Stephanie? Does he have high blood pressure? Is it because he had a heart attack? He's had a seizure? Because at this point, y'all stories don't make sense. And it's clear to me and people that have common sense that you're just trying to find any and every excuse for this man to not man up like he should have been doing.
Because a lot of people have health problems and they're still working. So instead, she is trying to change the story, which is why every time Stephanie has come out with a video or a live stream, the details of her story of what happened to Drew shifts. It changes a little.
In her video, when she's sitting in the car and she's talking about how
she found him, and she first said, well, I found him on the floor in the bathroom, but when he got up, it's like he couldn't speak, and I was asking him what was wrong, and he couldn't speak, and then he stiffened up and fell over. That doesn't even make sense. How do you get up off the bathroom floor, stand up, not be able to speak, stiffen up, and then fall over? Like, y'all can't be this gullible.
It's because they're trying to control a narrative so that they can keep pushing this version of reality that is either extremely exaggerated or an outright lie, in my opinion.
Like, and if you work in the medical field, mind you, I've been a caregiver and a med tech for 12 years. I've been around many people who've had seizures, strokes. I know the signs. Ain't no way you're going to go to a hospital, claim you had a seizure, and be released in a few hours. If you really had a seizure, you would be admitted. They will be monitoring you and trying to figure out if you're still going to continue to have seizures. My medical people can back me up on this.
And the problem with people who routinely lie and manipulate people is that they get used to doing it. They get really comfortable scamming people, jerking them around, taking advantage of other people's kindness and goodwill and compassion and tolerance. So that when that stops working, when they are forced out of their comfort zone of being a piece of crap, they get upset, they crash out, they throw a tantrum, and they deflect blame. They deflect responsibility, they refuse to take responsibility or any kind of accountability because that would require being honest with themselves.
I've given this man multiple chances throughout the years. Even back in 2022, when I told him, you know what, I'm proud of you for getting cleaned up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm proud of you. Maybe you will learn to, let me phrase this right for you guys to understand. I said, maybe that will help you build a better relationship when it comes to our son. And I hope you build one.
Throughout this entire saga so far, all Stephanie had to do was tell the truth. Provide receipts, be straightforward, and I think this would have went a lot better for her. Instead, she has made strategic posts rage-baiting domestic violence. She has lied about abandoning her pets and then abandoning them. She has lied about working with a social worker, and then we find out that it's just some rental company scam, whatever. She has lied about having childcare when she went to the hospital to have her baby. She exaggerated her labor for like 5 or 6 days, plus a bunch of other things. Worse, she constantly rages at her audience. She's flippant, she's entitled, she's lazy, and she offers nothing of value as a content creator other than fuel for criticism. At some point, all of this is going to catch up with Stephanie and Drew, be it in the form of a bench warrant, or numerous fines, or losing custody of some, if not all of their children, or worse. And anyone with common sense can see that neither Stephanie nor Drew are in any right frame of mind to recognize this. Because people concerned about doing better for their family, about breaking generational curses and raising their kids well, they don't do this. They don't lie. They don't manipulate. They don't deflect blame. They don't dodge responsibility or invent excuses or justify bad decisions. They roll up their sleeves and they get to work. And that is the one thing that Stephanie and Drew are not willing to do, which makes you wonder why. Anyway, that's it for me. I want to thank everyone for liking, commenting, and subscribing with a big, big thank you to my mods and members as always. You guys are rad, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye!